Okay, let us start the class. In today's class, I'm going to explain Java encapsulation. So these all classes are free classes which are being conducted under my Lakshmi Narayan Krishna Foundation. As I told you that these classes are free classes which are being conducted under my Lakshmi Narayan Krishna Foundation since 2023, 14 January. So the classes will be conducted thrice of a week. Friday, Saturday, Sunday sharply at 8 p.m. So these classes, the main objective of the classes for to enhance the programming skills in the students who are living in rural areas and they are totally away from network centers. Okay. So let us start the class. In today's topic, Java encapsulation. So in the previous session, I have taught about Java four pillars of inheritance, polymorphism. I have briefed in the previous session. In today's class, I am going to explain encapsulation. The meaning of encapsulation is to make sure that sensitive data is hidden from users. Generally, what happens, the information which is not related to the client means users. So if it is a sensitive information and it is not related to the, it is not concerned to the user. Okay, so that is very crucial information, important information. That sensitive information will be kept hidden. Why the information will be kept hidden? Because that information that is not concerned with the user. So encapsulation, it is the one more pillar. As I told you that four basic pillars of object oriented programming. That is what encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction. So today, encapsulation. So encapsulation, as I told you, that the sensitive information that is to be kept hidden from the users. So rest of the information which is not sensitive, means which is not important, that will be shown, and sensitive, most crucial information, that will be kept hidden from the users. So to do that, we need to declare the variables and attributes as private. So private, I told you that private is it is a access modifier. I told you that four types of access modifiers: default, public, private, protected. So private, once any attribute, otherwise variables, they are declared as private, so they can't be accessed from outside of the class, even the outside of the package. They can be accessed only inside of the class, inside of the class. So if I want to do somewhat changes for these variables which are declared as private, so two methods are there: public get and set methods to access and update the value of a private variable. Suppose if any variable declared as private inside of the class, if I want to do any changes with that variables, so by get and set methods. Okay, get to get the value and set to update the variable. So get and set methods. So private variables can only be accessed within the same class. So outside class has no access to it. So private variables, if any variable declared as private, so they can only be accessed within the same class. So these private variables can't be accessed outside class, has no access outside of the class. So the class which is outside, okay, it will not be able to access that variables. So private variables, they can be accessed within the same class. Okay, but it is possible to access them if we provide public get and set methods. So by these methods, we can update their values, get and set methods. So get method returns the variable value. If any variable declared as private and it has somewhat value of, assigned to that variable, that value can get by the get method. So get method always returns the variable, whatever the value of that variable. And set method sets the value. If you want to change the value of that variable which is declared private, so the value will be that can be updated by and that can be changed by this set method. Okay, syntax. So let us see syntax get set. So syntax for both start with either get set. Okay, followed by the name of the variable. Followed by the name of the variable. Okay, get, suppose variable name is somewhat, this is the variable name, this is the variable name. Okay, so get variable name. Okay, so get name. Name is what? Variable name. So set variable name. So see what happened, how to write the syntax. Let us see first. One class, first class to be created. Here class is person. Okay. So public class is public with class keyword class to create a class. Person, it is the class name. Any name you can keep XYZ your name as per suitable class name. So which is related with class, fruit class, car class, okay, vehicle class, student class, teacher class, like that. So public means this class is public means this class can be accessed outside of the class, outside of the package. Once any class methods declared as public means they can be accessed outside of the class, outside of the package. Whenever they are declared as private, they can be any variables attributes declared as private, they can be accessed only inside of the class, not outside of the class. If it is protected, any variable attributes declared as protected, they can be accessed inside of the class, outside of the class, but not outside of the package. Okay. So public class, this is the class name. Class is created. So here name is a variable, that is a string variable. It is a string variable. What do you mean of string variable? String variable means this variable holds only string value declared as private. Private means restricted access. This variable can only access inside of the class. Private means. Okay. So by getter method, public is what? Public is access modifier. By method get, this variable, as I told you that first, if I want to get the value of this variable which is declared as private, by get method, get name of that variable, that is what is the name, so capital N. Okay, and return name. Return name means the value stored in this variable. So string y, because that is the string value stored in this variable. So next, this is the getter method. Okay, this is the syntax to write that. Return keyword compulsory, because this method get name, get method must be having these brackets. Every method is like a function. Okay, now next setter method, public void. Why? Because this method will not return anything. Here we have not written any void. Why? Because this method returns name. So here void means this method will not return anything. So public void set a name. Okay. Here we have passed the parameter, variable as parameter. So this is what one parameter we have passed. So that parameter is what? New name. Okay. That new name is equal this dot name. This keyword used here, this name is related for this class. Which class? Current class. Current class is what? Person. This. Okay, this keyword means this name variable related to current class. Current class is person. Okay. Okay. So let us see. We will practice here. First example, that is how I am going to explain. Get method returns the value of the variable name. That variable name, whatever the value it has, that will be returned by this get method. Set method takes a parameter. So here one parameter, okay, it takes that parameter and assigns it to the name variable. Set method takes a parameter, okay, one parameter, it takes that parameter new name and assigns it to the name variable. Name variable of which class? Person class. That's why this. Okay. This keyword is used to refer to the current object. Current object means the variable, this class has a person. Person has a class. So it has an object. So this keyword always refers to, because a class may have many objects. So which object? So this keyword will direct that. It indicates that this keyword means if a class has many objects, which object? These variables, this variable, okay, this name variable, which is declared inside of this class as a private access modifier. So this is related to which class of object? Okay. So that is the thing. Huh? So set method takes a parameter, that is a parameter has passed, it was passed here as a string, okay, string parameter, and assigns it to the name variable of that object of this person class. This keyword is used to refer to the current object. Current object means a class has many objects. So out of them, which current object? This keyword indicates that which current object. Okay. However, name variable is declared as private. So we can't access it from outside of the class. Okay. So this variable declared inside of the class here with the private keyword. So it can't be accessed outside of the class. So that moment, see, under this main class, under the main method, I told you that one object is created for the person class. Syntax is what? This person is what? Is a class. For the class, object created, object name can be any new keyword compulsory, and then again class name. Okay. So here how how I can access that variable, that is name. Okay, so my object dot name. I told you that by creating of the objects for any class, we can access the attributes and methods of that class. So here object by object dot name means I want to access the attribute variable of that object created for person class. This name is the variable created inside of the person class. Okay. Now, so now system dot out dot, this is the syntax to write, display the result on the screen. So my object dot name error. Why this error happens? Why this error happens? Why? Because that is declared as that is declared as private. So it is declared and inside of the person class, but you want to access it from outside of the class. From main class you want to access. That's why you will get the error. So if the variable was declared as public, so surely you will get the output. If that variable declared as public, see, public means what happened here? If it is declared if it is declared as public, surely you will get the output. Okay, that is the thing. So now, if it is public, surely you will get the value. So, however, as we try to access a private variable, we get an error. So here we use the get name and set name methods to access and update the variables. Okay. So here, how to set the value for name variable? Set name. Okay, John. If we have passed this value, so this will be set the value of the name variable to John. How to set? Say under the main class, under the main method, object created for person class, my object. Okay, now my object dot set name. By set name method, whenever we pass any name as a string, so this will be set to where that this variable, wherever the variable is created, that variable will be updated. The value of this variable is updated as John. Okay. Now by set method, by once we have the method set, now whenever you want to get that name, now by this get name method. Understood that? So now let us see this code, how this code will be written here. This is the simple code. Okay. See, first of all, we will any practice here. Let us see what happened here. Okay. Okay, here you delete the total code from here. Okay. So generally what happens, see, this is the class. One is that here two classes. One is the person class created inside of this one variable created that is declared as private. Okay. By getter method, it will return. Okay. It will return by get name method. It returns name of that variable. It is closed. Okay. This method is closed. This class inside of this class person class, this getter method declared. Okay, inside of this, and inside of that person class, one more method, setter method. It is declared as void, means this method will not return anything. Okay, one passed, one parameter new name passed. Okay, now this keyword refers to the current object. This is the thing. So this is compulsory. So here you remove this total, delete. Okay, it is not being deleted. So this, let us see if this is deleted. It is also not deleted. But we can practice this code, okay, by using of your online web editor. The code is not being practiced well.